right there on Park Avenue would just follow 6th Avenue. It is the most direct alignment from the end of the park. Just take 6th Avenue straight out along the south side of 6th Avenue as it kind of turns west. That's really fairly undeveloped in there, so you could really, you would have ample room to get a trail in as you pursue that. The total cost estimate for this segment along 6th Avenue, much of that would probably be could be a separate trail, but it could also, at a lower cost, be just some road markings, some paint, put down some sharrows. That could sort of be your sort of low-hanging fruit, easy option before you put pavement down. But the total cost of that segment is $2.23 million. That includes the design, all the environmental review work, right-of-way construction, although the caveat is it doesn't include the replacement of the Scatter Creek Bridge. Reason for that being is you could have the trail out there in the with the bridge you have, but the bridge you have right now is considered functionally obsolete. There's nothing structurally wrong with it, it's just there's not enough room for cars and pedestrians at the same time. So you really have to have some speed control there, something as an interim if you wanted to pursue that trail, but ultimately if you were to replace that bridge, you would want some separated pathway for bicyclists and pedestrians. And so this here is just looking west from 6th Avenue on Old 99, looking towards that trestle. Depending on what side of the road you wanted the trail to be on, means where you might have a crossing. So I'm just throwing this street view image here to say you have some considerations about where you might have some pedestrian bicycle traffic crossing at this location. That's one design consideration. And then just beyond the railroad trestle, where SR 507 and Old 99 meet, you have a stop sign. But I know that WashDOT is considering in the future that they're considering the option of a roundabout at that location. So that would be another design consideration to be thinking about in context with this trail. And I think for most people who travel through Tenino, you don't realize that you're crossing Scatter Creek, that this is a bridge. It really doesn't present itself as a bridge structure, but it is. So again, as I mentioned earlier, you can see there's not a lot of room here, but there are other examples in the community. For example, on Henderson Road in Tumwater, as you dip into Pioneer Park, there's that bridge over the Deschutes River. There's really not much of a bike lane there, and what a lot of traffic has adapted to is bicyclists who are comfortable and pedestrians kind of take the lane, and cars need to slow down. So that could be an option in the interim, but the long-term recommendation is to replace this bridge. So we looked at several other alignments. We looked at GR3A, which is that yellow line, which goes more along 5th Avenue. That didn't do as well, less directness of route. And then this GR3D, which is that light blue line, that traveled north. I'm gonna have a hard time seeing that. John, what street is that it turns north on the blue?
That turns north on?
Yeah, it heads west.
McClellan.
McClellan, thank you. McClellan goes under the railroad and then would proceed south to take back up. So this would be great for residents in this part of the neighborhood to get access to the trail, so you might want to consider just some neighborhood connections, but as being part of the backbone of the trail system, this is a less direct route and would increase the cost due to more pavement as you return south along the railroad tracks. Okay, so now Whitney's going to come up and kind of walk you through how we rated each of the trails and how they performed and what their overall value was that led us to the preferred alignments.
Okay, going back to the criteria, perceived safety was the #1 important criteria, and then trail ambiance, and then we got directness of route. And so those were weighted most heavily when we were grading each of these alignments. This graph shows how each geographical reach or each alignment, how they perform. So that is how they rated for each criteria. So the criteria times how they did. And so as you can see, for geographical reach 2A and geographical reach 2A EV, and that's for the emergency vehicle. So that would be pretty much a raised path all the way from Tenino to Bucota. So it would be above the 100-year flood. The geographical reach 2A performed the best. However, that is also a $27 million trail. So we will go down, see value in a couple of slides. Does not perform as well in value. But performance-wise, geographical reach 2A performs the best. And that is the one that goes along private property so it goes along Crowder and then on private property east of the railroad. And then for geographical reach 3, geographical reach 3C and 3B are equal, but that just means that they're crossing at Old Highway 99, because we were planning on doing the trail originally on the north side of Old Highway 99. That crossing was a different spot, so they rated about the same. And then here's a cost estimate. I really won't go in detail because Paul kind of talked about it, but it just breaks each geographical reach up. And then for value, we took the performance divided by the cost index. And so this kind of says, okay, how did it perform, but also what's the cost, and that gives you the value. So for geographical reach 2, it was geographical reach 2A, the one that was on the east side of the railroad tracks on the private property, that performed the best. And once again, for the West Tenino extension, it was geographical reach 3C and 3B. And that was what Paul had shown.
That's the 6th Avenue.
Yes. We're gonna go next steps.
Yeah, so tonight we're really not here for your action. This is really just to have a discussion about this. And this was a technical study. It was really an exploratory planning process. We really didn't do any broad-based community outreach, because what we really just wanted the question was, is this feasible? Is it practical to do these trails, and what would it cost? That's the information we're providing to you, so that you as policymakers can make a decision about how you would want to proceed. So when the time comes that you say, yeah, we're ready to do this trail, it seems cost effective, we'll get some kind of return on investment, you go out for funding. When you do your design work, that's when you would go out to the community and start getting community input about the alignment and what type of enhancements and what kind of wayfinding and what you want to name the trail, all of that. So we didn't want to do any of that, because that would really be a distraction from really what our overall objective was. So tonight we're just sort of presenting you the evidence. We will share with you the draft final report when it's ready. SCJ is about to put a bow on it, and I'll share a copy with John, who will share a copy with each of you. So your next steps, we're going to present to the Tenino Planning Commission tomorrow night, Whitney and I. And with Dan Penrose, we'll talk about next steps as well. So you may get some recommendation from the Planning Commission after their review back to you about how to kind of institutionalize and memorialize this study. So what does it mean? You might be updating your comprehensive plan or your parks plan to kind of validate those alignments that this study revealed. And then really we're going to go to the town of Bucota in August to present the findings. And this morning Whitney and I presented the study findings to the Board of County Commissioners. And I can't speak for the Board of County Commissioners, but they seemed really receptive to this. And because this was a study spearheaded by Tenino and Bucota, I think they would like to hear from you.
I was
what
gonna
your
ask
priorities
if we
are.
could all go and, like, if Tenino and Bucota could go and support you during the presentation, but so it's already been made.
We gave, it was at a work session
Okay.
presentation, so it wasn't anything official, but they were very receptive. I think they understand the significance of these projects to both communities, and I think if I'm going to try to portray, I think what I perceived is they're very open to this, but I really think that they want Tenino and Bucota to come forward with your direction, like
Yeah.
what you want, and come to them with the ask.
Yeah,
So,
I think, we need to adopt it here in Bucota, and then the Tenino to Bucota Trail is all county property.
that's right.
So I think Tenino and Bucota need to go to the county and say this is a priority. Like 4.2 million sounds like a lot, but how much was spent on that bridge? The county trail that goes across I-5. I bet it was more than 4.2 million.
Oh, yeah, for all three bridges, it was probably over $12 million,
Yeah.
so.
So really 4.2 million to connect Bucota is not a lot, in
Yeah.
my opinion.
And you're getting like over 2 miles of trail, so, I believe that cost estimate that we came up with, the 4.2 million to Bucota is fairly reasonable. I would say that is a feasible option. So in terms of funding options for that, part of it could be through impact fees, through future development along that corridor. Washington State Department of Transportation bicycle and pedestrian safety grants, they usually do those on an annual basis. This project would be eligible for both design and construction.
How big of grants do those, how big do those?
Pretty sizable. I mean,
Oh,
you could get a pretty good chunk from it. And then TRPC's federal funding, the Transportation Alternatives Program grant and the Surface Transportation Block grant. I'm not sure about this next call for projects, but the subsequent, we're changing our process where Tenino and Bucota could come in for a larger ask than we've historically allowed, so that would be an eligible funding source. And then from the county, they could pitch in. They have impact fees, park impact fees, and real estate excise tax. So those could be options. So for that stretch between Tenino and Bucota, I would really encourage that to be a partnership effort between the three communities. I think that's the only way that's really going to happen. So for Tenino, almost all those funding sources would apply except for the county funds.
For us to go
Yep.
west, which would
Correct.
be, we would be solely working on our own on that project essentially.
In with TRPC, I mean, we would want to help you with grant writing and positioning the community for that, and of course, TRPC funding source, you could work through the Transportation Policy Board with Councilmember O'Callahan sits on, and through the council that Dave sits on to make the case that would be a funding priority for South Thurston County.
Okay. So at our next meeting, we will place a resolution to adopt or accept this feasibility study on behalf of the city, and that's the July 23rd meeting. Does anybody have any questions or comments on the study?
Would you like to have an opportunity to review the study and then provide feedback? I mean, I want to leave that option open for you if you just want to have the
You
chance.
can certainly
to
send
see
it out to the council
Yeah.
to
We have it in our
get you
packet. I
on.
read
Okay.
through it, but I
Okay.
might give it a little more time to read more detail, and can we just send comments to you if we had any comments?
Send them to me, and and we'll make sure we do our best to get them incorporated.
I didn't see anything off the top of my
Okay.
head, but
Anything else?
thank you for all the work on that.
Yeah.
I appreciate
Yeah, I
it.
appreciate all the work. This is great. Thank you.
And on our end too, TRPC is updating the regional trails plan starting this year, so the information from the study will be incorporated into the regional trails plan. So if you by resolution approve the study, we will kind of lock in your preferred alignment into the regional trails plan and memorialize it at sort of a county-wide level.
Excellent.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
That brings us to public comments. If there's anyone in the public that would like to provide comment, please come forward and do so at this time. You'll be given 3 minutes. We ask that you state your name and address. I see some folks here that I think signed up to speak during the public hearing. However, the public hearing is about our capital improvement. Okay, and I see.
We've clarified.
Okay, so if you want to speak on what I see signs on, now's your time.
Yeah, great. Thank you.
I don't want you to get up there during the public hearing and we tell you can't talk about it, and then it wanes a villain.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to provide public comment, please come forward and do so at this time. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you.
My name is Diane Sontag, and I am presently living in Olympia. I used to live here in Tenino, and it's just so wonderful to drive through this town and see what's happening, all the improvements and the feel of this small town, and just sitting here, just listening to all this, it really makes me feel happy to see what's happening here. There aren't very many small towns left anymore, and this is really special here. I'm here because I'm really concerned, and just after hearing all the projects that you all are doing, I'm even more concerned. I don't know if you saw this in the Olympian, the Tacoma Tribune. It was an article about developing an intermodal center over there across from Sylvania at the old Maytown gravel plant. And we've been really researching the company that wants to come in, and we are really concerned for Thurston County, and especially for Tenino being so close to the facility. I brought you a bunch of handouts because it shows what this company has done to Illinois and Indiana and Wisconsin, and it has direct quotes from those people about what happened to their small towns. And I have to say, I'm feeling alarmed after hearing this conversation about people possibly walking along, I think it's 502, 507, just with a barrier, because the amount of traffic that they are estimating that's gonna be coming out of this center is, they're saying at least 4,000 trucks and cars a day. And we actually think it's more than that. But we have to really work at trying to get any information through FOIA, because they won't tell us. Nobody has come to us and let us know. And I was gonna completely talk about something else, but I'm alarmed with the planning that you all are doing for these trails and this wonderful town you have. If this goes in, these trucks will tear up your roads, and it's really dangerous for pedestrians. And I hope that you will look at some of these reports and direct quotes from people that have been through this. I'm a Midwesterner originally, and I know what the small towns in Illinois, Indiana, and that whole area are. And I mean, these are horror stories in here. The more we read and the more we find out, the more upset we get. And boy, I really hate to say that to you tonight, because it's been just such an awesome meeting. You all this is an amazing town, and I don't want to see it wrecked. I love to come down here, and I kind of still wish I lived here. So that's pretty much all I have to say.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'll leave these with you.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. If there's anyone else in the audience that would like to provide public comment, please come forward and do so. You'll be given 3 minutes. State your name and address.
Hi, my name is Amy Stottlemyre. I live off McCorkle on Chaucer, and I've lived in Tenino, various places, Sundew, Park Avenue, since 2008, so fairly long time, I don't know, for my age maybe. So I too am very concerned about this intermodal or port that they're building. It's not just a warehouse, and I think that's what we really are trying to get across to people. So far what we've been able to gather is that they're trying to build a 6 million square foot warehouse on the park, next to the, about a quarter mile from the park. It is on 745 acres. Other plans that I found today by North Point, which is the company that's planning to do this, they use about 80 to 90% of the land. It will take that little used railroad that goes from Maytown, all the way through Frederickson, and we believe that they're initially eventually going to connect it to the Port of Tacoma. And then that will be putting freight on that train track, going to right by the park, which by the way brings in 500, excuse me, where is my data on that? Brings in 500,000 annual visitors to Miller Sylvania State Park. And those visitors do come shop in cute downtown Tenino, which again, as a Tenino resident, thank you for making this town cuter and cuter. Love it. And so I'm concerned, and you may be going, well, how does this affect Tenino? It's gonna tear up our roads. All these distribution centers do is they move goods through. It's a port. It's not manufacturing anything. It'll put a drain on the gas and on our roads. Taxpayers are the ones who are gonna pay for these roads. The property values are gonna decline because who wants to live by these warehouses? By the way, they'll be building more warehouses in Tumwater, along I-5, Hawks Prairie. In fact, this same company, North Point, is building 1.9 million acres in Hawks Prairie. All of that is gonna do is they're gonna unload from the port, put it on trucks, and truck it to the distribution centers. When I-5 has traffic jams like it has every Sunday in the summer, you can bet they're gonna be coming through cute little Tenino going to Old 99. They're not gonna just stay on I-5. We don't know all the details because again, they're not willing to share it. I just think that what we're trying to do right now, our main point is to tell county commissioners to keep the land zone rural 120 and not to rezone it industrial. If they do that, I think we're going to destroy the county. They are promising jobs, however, if you read that information about jobs, they tend to be temporary jobs that are not living wage jobs. They tend to hire seasonal workers, they tend to use temp agencies. Also, they super inflate the job numbers, so if you look at the town, I believe it's called Elwood, Illinois, they had a town of 2,200 people. At the last meeting, I believe 800 people came out and spoke against the project in a town of 2,200 people. So I just think that we are welcoming, I hope, a potentially really negative thing in South County, but will affect the whole county. And we just really wanted to make you guys aware of this. We're trying to get the county commissioners to keep the zoning rural. Department of Fish and Wildlife would like to buy the land, which would extend the park, West Rocky Prairie Wildlife Area, which if you look on this paper, you'll see that Miller Sylvania State Park, then there's the Port of Tacoma land that they're trying to sell to this North Point, and then Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife. The land in between is I would say well-managed tree farm. And so it really is a wildlife corridor. If this goes in, Tilly Road, Maytown, are all gonna be a mess. And I think you'll see a lot of torn up traffic too. So just wanted to make you aware, sorry to be doom and gloom on an otherwise super positive meeting.
Maybe we'll turn it back around.
Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for your comments.
Yeah.
If there's anyone else in the audience except Mr. Nelson that would like to provide comment, come on.
Thank you, Mayor Fournier. I'm Rick Nelson, Waldrick Road, Olympia. I'm sorry that I disagree with the previous speakers in that historically has been used as a dynamite manufacturing facility. And when that was used as a dynamite manufacturing facility, it was an industrial site. And I don't think any of the neighbors really were impacted by that. Certainly not to that extent. So I think it needs to be looked at very thoroughly, vetted thoroughly, to look at everything up and down, good and bad. And I also think that the property values will only increase substantially. What I know about the laws of supply and demand would certainly increase property values dramatically. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else in the audience? Going once, going twice, sold. That brings us to public hearing. RCW 36.70.070, comprehensive plans. Thank you for coming. Mandatory elements requires the city to, thank you, sir, to have a capital facilities plan that is part of its comprehensive plan. Chapter 5, Cap Facilities 2 Tenino's comprehensive plan satisfies the attached statutory requirements. The attached extracts from the 2016-2036 comp plan show the projects projected out to 2031. A brief overview of the project status is as follows. New library flooring, new patrol cars, septic receiving facility, feasibility study. Thank you for coming. Study all been accomplished. Virtually no projects related to streets, roads, sidewalks, and bridges have been accomplished. Some projects were accomplished earlier than planned, the Quarry House roof, for example, and some projects have been subsumed by larger projects, City Hall renovation, for example. We'll see carpet replacement, roof replacement, and communications upgrade as part of the project. For this public hearing, the goal is to receive input from the public that just left, the council and the administration in hopes of coming to a consensus regarding which projects should be included in the 2020 budget. The second public hearing will cover which projects will actually be included in the 2020 budget along with their funding sources. Public hearing is for public input and discussion of the capital improvement plan for the Tenino Comp Plan, first public hearing. This public hearing will proceed in an orderly fashion, and I would like to ask your cooperation in the following procedure. Everyone present will be given an opportunity to be heard. The clerk will be recording what is said. Therefore, when you address the council, please begin by stating your name and address. Before hearing from the audience, I'm going to introduce Mr. John Millard, the city's clerk treasurer, to present information about this project. Mr. John Millard.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Council members, again, what I was trying to get across there is if you look at the attachment there, what you'll see if you scroll past the map is a list of projects as they appear in our comprehensive plan that covers the years 2016 through 2036. And what I was trying to get across there is we are executing some of these projects. We're executing them kind of out of sequence from when the plan was developed because stuff happens. And so the purpose of tonight's meeting is to give you an opportunity to look over this list of projects, and if you see something in there that really piques your interest, let us know so that as we go through the budget development process, we can figure out if it's within our means to execute. You know, we have been enormously successful these past 4 years in garnering funds, more than I think any of us had any right to expect. So I'm not, I think we stand a pretty good chance of getting some of these other monies to address some of our other projects. So again, you know, this is an opportunity for the administration to hear from the public and the council which of these things, if you'd like us to reprioritize them or you know, cross them off and enter new things, we can do that. And then of course we'll have to get with the planning commission and update our comprehensive plan, but that's my headache, not yours. You know, we just want to know what you guys want us to do.
At this time, the floor is open for comments from the audience. In fairness to all in attendance, each person will be given an opportunity to address the council for an initial period not to exceed 3 minutes. If more time is needed, it will be made available after everyone has had a chance to speak. I'm requesting council members hold their questions to the public until everyone is done. Is there anyone in the audience that would like to provide public testimony? Sage?
I know she wants to say something, I can see
Come on
it in
up.
her face.
You want more playground toys? Are there any in the audience who would like to add any additional non-repetitive information? Sage?
I think she wants speed bumps on Houston Street.
Yeah. Council members, do you have any questions of the audience or staff?
I would just like to see us focus on some sidewalk and street work. I hear that every time I hear people talking, sidewalks and streets are, I hear over and over again, so it seems to be a priority with our community.
Yeah.
And so I would like us to see as much as possible focus on getting, especially in the downtown, you know, the sidewalks, especially in the downtown there, get some repairs or replacements done. That's just kind of my.
That's exactly what I was gonna say.
Okay. That's why we were talking about the funding for those last couple meetings.
other than that, yeah, I think infrastructure, just to make sure we're taking care of the infrastructure. You know, sometimes it's easy to put off stuff you don't see, so I would like to make sure there's some stuff we can do proactively versus trying to deal with stuff after it's broken. Let's start really thinking about trying to take care of what we have instead of waiting until there's an emergency and it costs twice as much to do. So that would be my other priority.
Okay. The public testimony of this hearing is now closed. Thank you. That brings us to proclamations. We have none. Old business. WWSCVC contract. The current contract for the operation of the city's wastewater treatment plant is being treated as a month-to-month contract because the term is written into the contract has expired. Both the vendor and the city desire to renew the contract for a longer term, including the proposed cost adjustment which the administration considers reasonable. City attorney has posed a number of questions for the vendor to consider, but in general approves the agreement. Recommended action is to move to authorize Mayor Fournier to enter into this agreement, provided the administration is satisfied with the responses to the city attorney's concerns.
I'll make a motion to approve mayor to enter into the agreement, provided the administration is satisfied with the response.
Second.
It has been moved and seconded. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. That brings us to scope of work for the City Hall renovation. As the very first step in the process of renovating City Hall, Gibbs & Olson has requested an amendment to the scope of work currently in place for the project to allow for the initial planning effort and preparation of the roadmap for the remainder of the renovation process. The city attorney has asked that we coordinate with Gibbs & Olson to ensure they and the city understand what deliverables shall result from this modification, and to include assistance with any bid-related documents not in the underlying contract. Recommended action is to move to authorize Mayor Fournier to enter into the modification, provided the administration is satisfied with Gibbs & Olson's responses to the city attorney's concerns.
Make a motion to approve.
A second.
It's been moved and seconded to authorize mayor to sign into the agreement. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. As the city continues to pursue certification of the proposed creative district, the administration proposes to satisfy the organizational requirement for oversight by amending the Tenino Municipal Code to add Chapter 2.7, Arts, Recreation, Culture, and History Commission. Proposed Ordinance 904 would accomplish this intent. It is recommended that we move to accept this as the first reading of Ordinance 904.
So moved.
Second. It has been moved and seconded to accept this as the first reading of Ordinance 904. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. This brings us to, it would be number 13, which is the TCOM 911 IGA. There was a presentation at the last meeting regarding, and I'm just doing this off the cuff, regarding entering into the continued intergovernmental agreement for dispatch. They need this done so that they can go for an initiative on the next ballot to fund a number of improvements that they have identified, and they have asked for all jurisdictions to renew this IGA. I will ask that you that you make a motion to authorize the mayor to sign on behalf of the city into the IGA, and then we can open it up for discussion because I know that there were some comments.
I'll make a motion to approve entering into the intergovernmental IGA. I'll just make sure, however you say that, intergovernmental.
Agreement, yeah.
A second.
Okay, it has been moved and seconded to authorize the city to enter into the IGA. Is there any discussion?
Well, I just came in at the end of the conversation, so I didn't, I thought this was something about the whole being a member of the board, so if this is just purely the IGA, I'm for it.
Just so they
I
can
just
get
want,
on the
I just think they should be two separate issues.
Well, they are and they aren't. You know, it was, you know, I wasn't here, so I'm just kind of cobbling it all together. But it was pressed to TCOM that South County doesn't feel it's adequately represented I feel that they heard that loud and clear. I had a good discussion with the director today, and he says that when if this passes, a new IGA has to be created, and in that we would request, all the South counties would request that a second position for South County cities be created. It doesn't need to be a Tenino representative, but it needs to be a second South County representative, and he feels that that's fair.
That sounds fair. I just didn't want to tie it directly that if we don't get this, we're not gonna sign that IGA.
No, but our pause did cause some reflection,
Okay.
which, that's good, I think. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes, thank you. That brings us to resolutions. Resolution 2018-04 would amend Resolution 2018-01 by replacing the current Creative District map with a newer, updated version and adding the initial Creative District budget. It is recommended to move to adopt Resolution 2018-04, amending the Resolution 2018-01 to update the Creative District map and add initial Creative District budget.
So moved.
Second. It has been moved and seconded as stated. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passes. Thank you all. That brings us to reports. Chamber of... Linda made the motion. Jason seconded.
Going too fast.
That brings us to Chamber of Commerce. I do not believe they have met since our last meeting.
Actually, no, they didn't, but there was a decision reached on the Citizen of the Year and Grand Marshal for Oregon Trails Days.
The board's meeting tomorrow night instead of last Wednesday. We didn't meet last Wednesday, so we're meeting tomorrow night.
That
Okay.
information will be the lead story in the paper tomorrow.
Excellent. That brings us to the Economic Development Council. We heard from them earlier. VCB, not present. Fire District, not present. Library.
Mayor, if I may.
Sir.
On the EDC, yes, they were here. They provided, we got their invoice for this quarter's contract payment. And inside along with the invoice, we have their annual report. So in your documents there, everything that they've been doing for us this last year is very well outlined, and our money's being very well spent.
Thank you. Library, we all got a report from Nicole Thode, the new library manager. She says our first Movies in the Park program happened June 28th. We had about 150 people attend. That's excellent. Pokemon Scavenger Hunt is off to a strong start. Participants explore the town searching for participating businesses where they will receive a pin. All finishers get a prize. They have over 200 summer library program participants. And then Reptile Man is coming to the park July 18th from 11 to 12. That one's super popular.
Right, crowded in
18th.
Centralia, I was driving by there,
Is
they
that
had it
your
at the city
reptile
park,
man?
at the Washington Park there.
What's that?
Today?
Yeah.
Okay, that's what all the
What?
crowd was.
Oh, there was a whole bunch of people and kids at Washington Park around the statue, and I saw the Reptile Man truck parked.
It's super popular. It was huge last time they were here. So mark your calendars for Reptile Man. No, he is not a reptile man. He is a man with reptiles. Timberland is moving forward with it says meditation between TRL and City of Tenino, but it is mediation. As always, I'm happy to meet with you and answer any questions. Is our report from Ms. Thode. Museum, we have no one present. Civil Service Commission, no report. Park Commission, no report. Planning Commission, they meet tomorrow night. Facade Improvement Grant Review Committee.
Well, we approved we approved the postmaster's picnic bench and the wayfinding sign with the following modifications. The city will install a picnic table already in the city's possession. That's why I was asking you about that picnic table.
That's not the one that we bought for the quarry house.
It's one of the ones that we bought for the quarry house but did not install.
We did not install. And then we also have the ones at the pool.
Okay.
See,
We got it.
Ken was talking about putting one out here in front of City Hall, which we love,
Yeah.
and, and using the other one to satisfy the postmaster's request.
Okay.
And as part of the improvement grant program, the city is gonna contact Sean Hickox for the fabrication of the wayfinding sign to match the ones that are all over town for the city, for the post office.
Okay.
And we recommended the approval of the farmer's market grant request to install benches along the west side of Olympia Street South, but only if the city council determines that a promise to keep the streets swept shall meet the grant matching requirements. The amount greater than $1,000 would best serve the city's, the city.
But here's the problem we're trying to solve with that statement. Currently, under the guidelines for the facade improvement grant, we can only approve $1,000 unless the city council approves a greater amount. So to put 2 benches over on Olympia Street, which we think is a great idea, would exceed the amount, so we just need your authority to exceed the amount.
Okay, so these need to be on the next agenda under old business.
No, you can make a motion and do either one or neither.
Well, this is under, okay, well, this is,
It's under report.
it's under reports. So,
Still a business session.
okay.
Does it need to be done tonight, or?
Okay. Yeah, let's bring it back with, and, yeah, all right. Chief of Police already gave his report, Director of Public Works, go ahead, please. We're almost done, Sage.
I'll keep it short.
Very patient.
She's been very good.
Good evening.
Me.
How's everyone doing? Good?
Good try.
Okay, good. That's it? No.
That's it.
The bicycle kiosk, it's, Johnson Brothers are finished with their part. We are finishing up the water line. It's all installed and everything, we just had to test it. We're still waiting for the results to come back so we can turn the water on so people can drink it. Hopefully by tomorrow it'll be on. We're hoping. No major issues out at wastewater treatment plant, everything's going good except the pond, but we're dealing with that. What else there? Water usage for the month of June, we had 8 million gallons that we produced. Last year at this time in June, we used 10 million, what did I say? 8 million? Last year we used 10 million, so we're 2 million under that. So that's pretty good savings. I mean, that's what the goal is, to get water reduction down, so our ERUs go up and everything else. So we're not using as much water as we have in the past, so.
Can I ask a question about that, kind of related, before I forget?
Yeah.
On a report we got in our bill, it's, we got
The-
a report, water report in our last.
The annual water report,
It's
yeah.
a huge decrease, like
Yeah.
20 million gallons, is that correct, I kind of.
Yeah.
Is that,
From the years past,
yeah, that's
exactly.
huge.
Huge
A huge
reduction.
amount. And that's because of leaks mostly.
We had one leak that we took a long time to find.
That was huge.
It was huge, yeah, so, but, the pool is open, it hasn't been very busy, I will probably close it I'll probably close it tomorrow and Thursday, so it's supposed to be like this. No reason to open it, if that's okay. I don't think we should waste lifeguards' times or whatever, I know.
We're cutting some trees or
Well,
something.
no, we have, no, but we did talk, and Troy, I don't know if you've got him yet, but he's gonna get some litter picker-uppers, and because
Yeah.
when there are 5 lifeguards there and it's rainy, but we're not gonna shut down because, maybe there's a family in there in the kiddie pool, they will be just walking around the park picking up trash.
And we also been sending some home. We sent 2 if no one's there by 2 o'clock, they send 2 home. If no one's there by 4 o'clock, send 2 more home, cause there is 6 lifeguards on duty. And so, it comes down to the last 2, for the last couple hours, so. And
We're being mindful of that.
yeah, we are being mindful of it, we're watching it. The weather doesn't look like it's that great for the next couple weeks either, so, I don't know.
Yeah.
Hopefully, people will show up. But
Alright.
Um,
Anything else?
No, I guess I'm done. He wants to leave. I'm not, now I'm gonna stay up here and talk. Jerry Jones, the new hire,
So
He
we
started
opted
Monday.
to go with a temporary
yes,
maintenance helper.
correct. Till the first of the year, hopefully. He came on Monday. So far, he's doing a good job. We're trying to do some catch up on mowing and weeding. We're prepping for STP this weekend. And we had Oregon Trail Day, so we have quite a bit to do for the mowing, weeding, sussets and whatnot. We're gonna get this street sweeper going, see if we can get one more year out of it. There's a couple of things I gotta do to it so we can use that before Oregon Trail Days. But our plan is to sweep the streets and make everything look good. That's about it. That's all I got. Unless you guys got something for me you wanna talk about or anything. Nope.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Clerk treasurer.
Ladies and gentlemen, with your permission and in the interest of time, I would suggest that I entertain your questions about my report only. If you have none, that's my report.
Excellent.
Sounds good.
I went down and found it, now I lost the agenda. Alright, next, me. I talked about the department head meeting, the budget discussion. We talked about the ag park and wastewater treatment plant discussion, and Troy gave an update on the park improvements in the bike plaza. So be advised, there's 20,000 people coming through the city this Saturday. Take pictures, enjoy. Clerk treasurer Bucota, be that.
There won't be a report for this month, they have a month off.
CIP.
We did not meet last month, that's coming up here, I think, next week.
Solid waste.
I think I told last meeting that the director of the solid waste division resigned. And as part of that, they were planning on putting out an RFP for long-term operation of the work, we made a recommendation last meeting to only do a 4 to 5 year extension of the contract instead of negotiating until we had time to get a new director in there, kind of see what their direction would be versus doing a 20-year kind of commitment type thing. So our recommendation to the county commissioners is going to be to recommend just a 4 to 5 year extension of that current contract until we get the new director on board and see what their direction and thoughts are.
Okay. TCOM, we talked about them. School board.
I'm setting up a meeting with Mr. Belmonte next week to hopefully meet the new super assistant who started this month.
Excellent. Good job.
Is the superintendent going to be back?
Yeah.
It's not vacation.
Yeah.
I don't know.
He's in Ireland for 3 weeks, and just
Is
left
he?
last week.
Oh.
That's why he's not answering the emails.
He will be
Find a
back.
new
He's
English
coming
language
back,
arts
just-
teacher, 'cause
he's
He
in
sees
Ireland.
my, he
Lost
sees my name enough though that he's like, oh, I gotta get back to it.
TRPC.
We have our annual retreat on Friday. It's all day out at the
Oh, boy.
casino. Yeah,
The casino.
yeah.
Steady. TPB is not here. Movie in the Park this Friday night. TPB summary attached. We have some announcements. The annual National Public Works Association Expo is in Seattle, September 8th through 11th.
Woo-hoo.
And I ask you to take part in the opportunities available by volunteering at PWX. I'm not gonna read the rest. You can read that on your own. On the future work set, on the Transportation Benefit District, let's keep that as a title or a subject, even if we're not talking about it, just so we don't forget that we want to talk about it. And then I think that was it. Fireworks, we're going to talk about that too. All right, with that, do we have any other public comments? Sage, public comment? All right, meeting adjourned.
I won't be able to.
Okay, back to Silverwood. Jeez.
the American League was leading 2-1.
Were they?
Yeah. It was 2-0, but the Nationals was 1-0. It's the only home run of the game so far.
You can go, your kids are going.
Yeah, because I'm always invited.
I don't know why he doesn't get me a ticket too. I mean,
I didn't tell
no,
you.
they're going, yeah, they're going for 3 weeks, or 4 weeks this time.
Networking
Normally they just do
company
the 3
from-
weeks.
Yes, they
I
sat
know.
down with me on Monday. It was a virtual meeting of Brightwire. And they want to do the same thing. They want me to go see their ops center. I really like it.
Okay, you too.
What I want you to see is why I'm so terrible.
Yeah. So both their op centers or the?
No, just the one, but they haven't given me a date yet. What I told them is, I wanna socialize it, to be a date we can afford it.
Okay.
Thank you.
Oh my God.
Yes.
Nasty outside.
Get your name.
It's summer in the Northwest.
October, they'll get the pool okay. How come you didn't come up here and hit the gavel?
Yeah, what's up with that?
Ready to go home? Alright, let's go.
Guess they're just gonna leave you, right? Hello? Okay, well, grandma's
Thanks,
out.
Rhonda.
See you guys.
Thanks, John.
Bye. See you later.
It's my water bottle.
Bye, Rhonda. See you later.
Bye, Cindy.
Bye. Oh, you smoke.
Yeah, I'm sure she'd have given more intelligent conversation than the last. It's gonna be the death of all of us. Okay.
So what happened to Donna and, what's his name today?
Leslie, I don't know. Maybe they broke up.
I lost it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's still going, I guess I should